Apple, Tesla, Nvidia. We're going to take a look at each of the charts and talk about what we can expect to see from those companies. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education, and should you go golfing this week, make sure to take a second pair of pants just in case you get a hole in one. All right, so for these three companies, Tesla, are we going to see 300 or not? Apple, what in the world happened to that $200 price mark? And then Nvidia, you were a $500 stock. What in the world are you doing right now? So we want to take a look at the charts and see what exactly is going on, and I will give my take on it. I will also tell you how you get up to 16 free stocks, and then also where you can see my buys and sells and get access to my options course, my Nvidia stock price prediction, Tesla stock price prediction later on in this video. In the meantime, let's go over to the charts on this thing, and we're going to start off with Apple. So here we go. Apple peaked out on us at 197.96. So this darn thing was so close to 200 and it just died off, couldn't do it. And now we're sitting down at $175 per share. And I'll zoom out a little bit more for context so you can see where we're at. And you can see that we did stumble right around the 175 mark. And we are positioned right now to go either down to 170 or back up to 180. And if we go back up to that 180, which is where we'd be sitting right about here, you can see that nice little shelf that we make with these candles that we have in here, and also these candles all the way back here. So 180, I think, is going to be significant resistance for us, and that's actually going to take significant momentum to break that resistance. So let me zoom in a little bit more, and down here, if we take a look at this momentum indicator, the RSI that I have for you, and also the volume indicator that we have here, it does shed a little bit of light on what we can see happening with the increased volume spikes that we had during this most recent drop off. And then we also have further larger volume spikes indicating a further drop. We got a little bit of one, but then we started running into support, and that's exactly why it's called support. And then we had the triple witching day on Friday where we had large volumes on Apple, but you'll see there wasn't much price action that went with it. So as of right now at 175, we are still currently sitting at support. And when you see the RSI between 30 and 50 like it is and sort of moving sideways, so what this shows is that we're going to just sluggishly drift downwards for just a little bit, at least according to what has happened. That's backward looking. Now for forward looking, should we see this RSI point downward for us and it actually drops down below the 35 level, even possibly tagging that 30 level, we could most definitely see a further sell-off happening, and that will continue until we start to see that momentum indicator break back up above 30 and show us a higher high than what we had over here. So that's definitely worth paying attention to, that we get that signs of reversal. Now, if we don't drop from there, if instead we start popping up this way, should we break over the value of 45, as a matter of fact, it'd be even better if we broke over the value of 50, not only just touching the 50 line on the RSI, but crossing over it. That's going to be a much better sign that we're going to start reversing this thing much earlier. Then we got to pay attention to 180, and then we also have to pay attention to the 50-day that we have right here, which does act as decent support and resistance for us. It can indicate the movements on Apple. When you look at this, it actually shows us when you're above it, there's some very bullish action happening, and then when you drop down below it, that's where you get that bearish movement happening. And right now we happen to be below it, but you do notice that this does cross all the time, and what we're looking for is how to predict that better. Let's move on to Tesla and see if Tesla gives us a clearer signal. So Tesla right now sitting at about 274, and in the pre-market hours, let's see where we're at. So for Tesla, this one's moving a little bit more. About 272 is about where it's sitting. And when we look at the momentum that we have for Tesla right now, unlike Apple that was between 30 and 50, this has been between 50 and 70, and what that would be a sluggish upward movement. And you can see that. So when we look to the past, that's exactly what's happening. Now, what can we look forward to? Well, should the RSI break up above 66, as a matter of fact, come up and touch 70, that could be a sign that we're going to get further upward momentum on this one, and that we're going to get to about maybe we start to test that 280 mark, maybe up to 283 like we have here, and that would take that significant move. And the more that we continue to push up beyond that 70, even though that is considered overbought, and it'd be kind of weird to make an entry at that point in time, wouldn't really signal an entry for us. It would just signal maybe possibly further upward movement, and it wouldn't be until you start turning back around that you start seeing signs that maybe we're going to start reversing that or maybe hold steady. So for Tesla, just like Apple, we're not getting a clear signal yet as to the direction that we're going. The fact that this has flattened out is telling us that momentum is sort of stalling out on us, and should that momentum indicator break down below 50, that would be a clear sign to me that Tesla price is going to possibly return back down to this 50-day at about $255. And then below that, we come down to about 245 or 243, possibly even down to 240. So I would say that 240 is probably much more solid support for this thing, breaking down below that 255 level. And we'll have to see just how hard we would push down through that level in order to make sense of it. Now, to the top side of this, from the momentum indicator that we have, I already talked about breaking back up above 70. I don't think that gives us the same room up above where it's at, given this most recent run and the fact that we're currently sitting about $25 to $27 down below this most previous peak that we've had. And I think there's a lot of questions out there that need to be answered before we really start to see that next big push. And I've had a bullish channel drawn on here before. So you can, of course, make your own small adjustments to this and say what you will. As a matter of fact, this could probably be brought down just a little bit to show us a better part of that channel that we're at. We are above the 50-day. The 50-day has gone flat on us. So that is something that instead of having this positive slope like we have right here, instead we went flat. So that would show us that we have mitigated price action near term. So for Tesla, we're still sort of on the fence of this. Looking a little bit bullish. We have bullish momentum indicator going on, and really right now we're sitting right up against resistance, and that's something that makes it a little bit more difficult, whereas for Apple we were sitting sort of bearish but as support. So we're going to have to watch those two for a clear signal on the direction, but I'll tell you that they are on my radar, and I'm putting it in this video so that you guys know early to be watching these things if you're not already watching them. All right, before we get to Nvidia, which I think is the most exciting one, I'm going to tell you real quick the 16 free stocks from Moomoo. You can use my link in the description, sign up, make your deposit. Each of the stocks valued up to $2,000 a piece. Here are your deposit levels, and the number of free stocks that you receive in that $5,000 deposit level has a free share of Tesla or Google that goes with it. If you want to see what I'm buying and selling, you can do so through the Patreon by using the link that's down in the description for that. I do have my options course building out over there right now, which starts at the very beginner. You don't need to know anything about options whatsoever, and I will give you perspective on what's going on with those options and how to position yourself with them, and I will go all the way up through advanced trading strategies as well to tell you more about those options and how you can really amplify your portfolio and really achieve some serious alpha beyond market gains through the power of options. All right, so I do want to come back to Nvidia now that we've talked about that. So I'll put the desktop app from Moomoo up there, and let's go to NVDA. There we are. All right, so for Nvidia, here's the bullish channel that we have been trading in. You'll notice we have broken down below that, and more importantly, we've broken down below the 50-day, so it is looking bearish, and you can see with the momentum indicator that we have a negative slope going on right here, and we have dropped down below 50 on the RSI. That's also important to watch. In the pre-market hours, we're currently sitting below $428 per share, and I got asked about this over on my Discord, where to see Nvidia going, and I said that, well, we're at support right now. It looks like it possibly sell off a little bit more, and fast forward to today in the pre-market hours, and that's what we're seeing. So where's support for this thing? Well, down at about $428, $430 per share is about where we can find it. So it is possible that today during the market hours that we settle around there. We'll see if we get a further market bias push down below that. So should we push down below that, we come down to about 420 and then to about 410 below that. And then really the most solid support that you're going to get is around 400. And so here's what I would like to see in the short term in this, being that I am somebody who's a bullish investor on Nvidia and looking for the best opportunity. For me, taking a short position, as we already have sold off so much and we have support levels that are being met, that kind of makes me a little bit nervous to jump in at that point. Now, I do think that should we push down below 30 on the RSI, that really starts to set up that case to make for quite a return from that low level, and we'd just be watching for signals crossing back up above 30 and showing us that we are starting to climb out of that divot, out of that rut that we were in. Much like when we look back here, you can see the momentum dropping, and right here would be that day. You can even see it through the strong green candle that we had and the significant volume change that we had from back here during that sort of sell-off, sort of consolidation-y period. And then here's where that starts to come in, and we could ride that up all the way until we get that first sell signal, which you could argue happen any one of these days in here, all the way going back from 8/29 until we get to about September the 1st. And if not by then, certainly by the 6th, you would have been out of that position. So I'm looking for those indicators to me that tell me a little bit more about the direction, and I will signal those on here on YouTube, and then I will signal those in more of a real-time way through my Discord, which is available, like I said, through the Patreon. So my Nvidia stock price prediction for Q3 already available. My Nvidia earnings forecast already available through the Patreon. For Tesla, the stock price prediction and earnings forecast, I'm working on right now updating them and putting that up on the Patreon very soon. And I know there's a lot of people very excited to see what exactly is coming up for them for Q3. Don't forget about the catalyst on October the 2nd, which is Tesla's quarterly deliveries. And so watching for its price action around there and watching for an excellent way to position ourselves to make the most beneficial move out of whether or not we should watch Tesla's stock price start to drift downward a little bit on us, or if it's one that we expect to see ripping upward for us. So we'll be on the lookout for those things. That's my take on Apple, Tesla, Nvidia. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments of this video. If you like the information that I provide, hit that like button, subscribe to me if you haven't, and if you want more of my offerings through the Patreon, that link's down in the description. Like I said, my buys and sells, you can talk to me throughout the trading day. My community members are awesome, incredible people who are just very passionate about investing, trading, and learning how to make the best lives possible. So if that sounds appealing to you guys, come on over. If you want to learn about options, come on over. If you want your free stocks from Moomoo, use that link down in the description. I do my options trades through there, and I post them over at the Discord, which, like I said, is available through the Patreon. And I'll tell you what, I absolutely love the user interface that they have, and it has really helped my trading game. So like I said, that Moomoo app, sign up, get your free stocks, and thank you guys for all the support that you show, even if it is just watching this video. I really do appreciate the time that you give me and the attention that you give me, and I just hope that I'm returning the value and service to you that keeps you coming back for more. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. Remember, my friends, that learning is earning, and we'll see you in the next video.